Hi everyone, welcome to Red Fox Sewing and Crafting, and welcome to my craft room. I'm Joanna. So today I am going to be showing you how to make this cool suitcase. If we open it up, it's got straps on it too. Open it up, at the top it has a little pocket, and then on the bottom here can lift this, and there is a secret compartment. Now I put ribbon on this one, but you don't have to add ribbon. I am not going to add ribbon to the one I'm going to make in this video today. So I'm going to put this off to the side and we can get started. To make the base of the suitcase, you need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 8 by 10. 2 pieces of chipboard that are 2.5 by 8, 2 that are 2.5 by 10, 2 that are 1/2 by 8, and 2 that are 1/2 by 10. You will need paper to cover all that. All the cutting information is going to be down in the description below. I have already covered most of my chipboard pieces, but I left one to show how to do it. One other thing, the main part of the chipboard is made out of the main part of the box, is made out of thick chipboard, and then only the secret compartment, the false bottom, is made out of thin chipboard. Down in the cutting description, I will label if it's thick or thin in the with the pieces that you need to make this. So this is for the false bottom. But all of the chipboard pieces are going to be covered the same exact way. So if you want, you can do this assembly line style, which is how I did all of my pieces. So I'm going to be using one of my guides here to help me with this. And when you are covering chipboard for a box or album, usually you want 1 inch around for a margin when you're cutting out your cardstock. So my my chipboard is 7 7/8 by 9 7/8, and I cut my cardstock to 9 7/8. I did leave it to 12 inches just because that 1/8 inch isn't gonna really do anything. It's not gonna help or hinder. So I have my chipboard, the back of my chipboard, covered in double-sided adhesive. Find this to be the easiest way to attach chipboard to cardstock. But if you have a different way to doing this, by all means, do it your own way. Whatever way you like doing it, go for it. So I'm just going to put this in the corner of my template here, just like that. And then to make wrapping the the cardstock around the chipboard easier, I like to kind of fold it around like so on all four sides. And then I flip it over, and if I can find it, I take my bone folder and I run it across the edge of my chipboard on the cardstock side to give myself a nice burnished edge. Oops. Just like so. Now I'm going to flip this back around. And in each corner, when you folded the cardstock around the chipboard, you made corners. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the corner out and then cut 2 triangles out after that, okay? So I'm gonna go all the way to the corner. Just like so. And then we're going to snip these corners off. Just like that. I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. So your piece should look like this with all 4 corners cut out. And I also added some double-sided tape to all 4 of my cardstock edges. So now I'm just going to take the backing off all 4. So I find that it's easier to have all 4 off and then just quickly adhere the edges to the cardstock. So because we're making a box, it doesn't really matter which side you start with. You just want to make sure that you do opposite sides and then do the other 2 opposite sides. So I'm just going to add some glue to the edge of the chipboard, just like this. And then with my burnishing tool, I'm going to pick that side of the cardstock up and burnish it along the edge of the chipboard. And then I can push the cardstock down on top of the chipboard. And then sometimes I'll just go over it again with my bone folder just to make sure that it's stuck. So again, I'm going to add glue to the edge of the chipboard. Burnish it and then stick it down, just like that. Now the other two edges gonna be slightly different. So we're still going to be adding the glue to the edge of the chipboard, but we're also going to add, some glue to the two corners. Just like this. Because that way, the corners will stay stuck down to the chipboard and not want to come up. You want to make sure that your piece is staying together. So last side, going to add glue. And then you can burnish and stick it down. You want to make sure that the corners are really stuck down. Now I like to check my corners to make sure that the cardstock isn't poking out on the other side, and if there is, I just take my scissors and carefully put it just around the cardstock and snip off a small piece. Just like that. And now it's ready to be made into a box. So now that all our chipboard pieces are put together, we need our hinges. You need 4 pieces that are 2 by 10. One piece that is 3 by 10. 4 pieces that are 2 by 8. 4 pieces that are 2 by 2.5. And 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 2. So for now, we are going to put our 3 by 10 off to the side, and we're going to focus on our 2 by whatever measurement they are. We're going to grab our scoreboards out, and you want to put the 2 inches on every piece at the top, and we're going to score all of them at 1 inch. And that's for every single piece. And then what you're going to do is fold it in half like this, and then you want to miter from this center fold out just a little bit, just like this. So then when you open it up, you have a slight angle that tapers out from the center. Okay, so I'm going to take all of my hinges, score them, and prep them for the next step. Now that we have our hinges prepped, we can put the box together. So we are going to start with our 4 long hinges, and I'm only going to do one because I already did the other one. So you want 2 of the 2x8s and 2 of the 2x10s. And then depending on if you're doing the 2.5 or 1.5 inch sides, you want the 4 pieces that connect the sides together. So starting with the 4 long hinges, we're going to add glue to one side, and you don't want to go too close to the score mark. You can go a little close, but if you go too close, then when it gets connected, you'll get some glue showing along where it attaches, and you don't want that. So you want to do it about, I'd say, 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch. You can go pretty close, just not like right next to it. And then we're going to take the folded edge, and you want to line it up with the edge of the chipboard. Just like so. And then I like to do the 2 opposite sides, and then the other 2 opposite sides, just so that the second to lock the first 2 hinges in. Kind of makes a little bit extra security in putting this together. So again, you want to line up the edge of your chipboard to the scored center of your hinge piece. And then we're going to do the 2 long sides here. Oops. Now it's time for the sides. And to do that, I'm going to start with 1. And you want to add glue to your hinge. And then making sure that your chipboard pieces are butted up against each other, and the edges, or the sides, are lined up. So it's like this. Going to push the hinge on top of the side piece like that. And then again, I like to do opposite sides first, and then the other two sides. Time to make this into a functioning box. You want your 4 hinges, and I'm going to attach them to either side of my 2 short side pieces here. Just like this. Same as with the other hinges that we've been putting on. And then turn this around and we can attach the other 2 hinges here. And putting the hinges on 2 of the sides, 2 opposite sides, just make sure that you are getting, or you'll have hinges to connect all 4 of your sides together. And now we can attach the other sides of the hinges to the other side pieces. And it's better to do it with the base on the table and lifting the sides up, because you want to make sure that the score mark lines up with the edge of the other piece of chipboard, the other chipboard. And then I like to just stand it up like this and then burnish it on my table just to get it stuck down. And then I'm going to do the other side here. Now, this part will feel a little, it'll feel like your box is about to come apart, but if you line everything up correctly and let the glue dry for long enough, it should stay together and be really strong. If you need to, you can add a little bit of extra glue to the side corners once you get them on, but it should grab hold and stick on once it's all put together. And I'm just adding glue to my last hinge here. And stick it down and then burnish it really good. And here's your box. To connect these two boxes to make a suitcase, because these two boxes, if you put them on top of each other, should line up really well. We have that 3x10 that we put aside. And we are going to put this in our scoreboards with the 3 inches at the top. And we are going to score at 1 inch. Now you just want to fold and burnish. Okay. Now we want to fold and burnish this piece, and take our scissors, and again we're going to miter the two sides just like so. And then I am going to add some squirt tape on the mountain side. I'm just going to do it along it's like an 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch. Again, because you don't want to go too close to the edge, or you don't want to go too close to the score mark that you made. I'm going to put another piece down here. Burnish is really good. And now we can grab our pieces. So I'm going to start with a small one. So I'm going to add glue to my 1-inch side. Just like this. And then it's going to be just like a hinge, except we're going to be doing it on the outside. So you want to line it up with the edge of your chipboard piece, just like so. I'm going to put it on that side and burnish it really good. So I have my lid connected to my hinge. And I'm going to grab my base here. And going to, again, add some glue to our hinge. This might be a little tricky, but what you want to do is line up your boxes as best as you can, just like this, and then just push on your 2 boxes and put the hinge down so that your 2 boxes are basically, the edges are kissing, and then you can attach your hinge to the base of the box, like so. I'm just going to put my hand in there to burnish this really good. Before we go on to the next step, you need to add pattern paper to the sides and the full inside of the base of your suitcase. So I am going to do that really quick, and then we will come back and do the next step. So now that we have the inside and the outside sides covered in our pattern paper, we can set that off to the side and work on the straps. So we have several pieces for the straps. You're going to work on these 4 first. So you need 2 that are 1.5 by 12 and 2 that are 1.5 by 6 1/4. Grab your scoreboard out, and on the 6 1/4 ones, we are going to score at 1 inch and 5 1/4 on both of those. So again, that's 1 and 5 1/4. And then on our 12-inch ones, you want to score at 4 1/8 on both. Okay, so grab my mat back and going to fold and burnish on all our score marks. And I'm going to add a little bit of score tape on just my 1 inch pieces. To make these longer, we're going to take one of the short pieces. You want to add glue to one of the 1 inch sides, and then you want to take the longer side of your 12-inch piece and put the 1 inch piece on top, like so, okay? And we want to do that to this one as well. And if you want, you can put the 1 inch piece on the bottom just to hide that. But you will be putting pattern paper over it. Well, if you want to put pattern paper over it, it will hide the seam, so you won't notice it. So now we have 2 long strips for the main part of our straps, and I'm going to quickly measure to see the distance for this. So you want the back of your box where your hinges. We're going to attach it to the base, okay? And we are going to put them 1 1/4 inches away from the edge of the base chipboard. So I'm going to grab one of my straps here. Line up my ruler, just like this. And then line up your piece. Kind of want to make sure that the corner of it is flush with the side chipboard piece, okay? Then we're going to take the next one and do the same thing. Again, we want it 1 1/4 inches away from the edge of the base chipboard. Just like that. And then you might have to finagle it a little bit to get it right if your chipboard isn't perfectly squared up, but it should line up fairly well. I'm gonna have to just refold mine about here. And that's okay. My pattern paper will cover up the score marks, so nobody will notice. Just wanted to make sure that when you, or if you need to do this, that it's about the same on both pieces. And it is. Yeah. It's pretty even. So now my straps are flat on the top of my box. Okay. Now we want 2 pieces that are 1 1/2 by 3. And really quick, the scoreboard, we want to score that at 1 inch on both pieces. And again, burnish this really good. And then for these 2 pieces, I'm actually going to put score tape on the whole back of it. And before we attach these to our box, it would be a good time to decide if you want to round the corners of your straps. And I might do that. I'm actually going to use this punch, I think. It's a little bit, it's an inward curve, but it will help keep the corners from getting all mangled up, because we're going to have pieces that hold the top straps down. But I can run my other straps later. These are attached at the front, the front base, and the front side. Again, you'll want 1 1/4 inch spacing on the base. And because of how our box is put together, I am making sure that I have a little bit of a gap where there's no glue or double-sided adhesive right next to my score mark again, so that it doesn't ooze or anything once it's all made and doesn't get gunky or anything, because that will be exposed. You won't see it, but it won't be connected in any way. And then this one, like so. And then if you look, our corners have a little gap in them. You just want to make sure that you don't put any glue there, okay? And now we can attach the front part to the front of our suitcase. Again, I'm just going to measure just to make sure that I'm getting it all right. And these are more just for decoration, kind of finish the suitcase off. And there you go. The front pieces are down. Now we have our handle and our two strap holders. For these little pieces, you want two that are 1/2 inch by 2, and then your handle is going to be 1 inch by 4 3/4. Really quick, we are going to score our handle, and that's going to be at 1 inch, 1 3/8. Three 3/8 and 3 3/4. That should be right. Yes. Then fold and burnish on all your score marks. And then we are going to take the 1 inch sections and fold them the other direction, so that when we put it down, it'll be a little handle. Just like this. And inches. This is about 4.5. So we are going to do a little over a 1/4 inch. Well, let's just do a 1/4 inch, and then 1/2 inch up. And it's always a good idea, even when it's just decoration, to add some score tape. If you don't want to use score tape, that is okay. Whatever method for adhering things you find easiest will work perfectly fine. So again, we're going to measure from the inside of our bottom strap, 1/4 inch, and then up from the bottom of our side piece, 1/2 inch, and lay down that side of our handle there. Just going to burnish it really good. And then I'll do the second side. Quarter inch from the side and 1/2 inch from the bottom. Right there. And burnish really good. And there's your handle. Now for the straps, probably should have put this up a little bit more, but that's okay. If you want to put this up like maybe probably like 1.5 would work, but I'm just going to probably just gonna butt these up against just like this, and then it should reach. I'll butt it up at the center like that. So you want just a little bit on the corners, or on the two sides, and I'm gonna use a ruler here to get it centered. And again on the second side. Oy, excuse me. Sneezing all day. There you go. Okay, front's done. Now to work on the inside. This is our what is it? Our false bottom. And it's gonna probably be a little tight, but it should fit in there. Mine's pretty tight, but you could take like 1/8 of an inch off of the measurement, or just like leave this in here for a while, and then it'll kind of loosen up a little bit. So the chipboard pieces for the false bottom are one piece that is 7 7/8 by 9 7/8, two pieces that are 1 1/4 by 7 7/8, and two pieces that are 1 1/4 by 9 7/8. And then it'll look like this, okay? And all the cardstock measurements will again be at the bottom in the description. To keep the false bottom from going all the way down to the bottom of the box, we have 4 pieces of chipboard, I already covered these, that are going to hold the false bottom up. And for that, you need 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 10, and 2 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 7 3/4. And cardstock measurements are going to be in the description. To make this next step a little bit easier, you will want to cover all 4 pieces with your pattern paper before we add them to the box. I'm going to do that really quick. The sides have pattern paper on them now. And now we can go ahead and add them to our suitcase. It's going to be really easy. Going to add, actually we're going to start with the 2 10-inch pieces. You want glue all on the back. because these are going to be all the way at the bottom, you don't need score tape or double-sided adhesive. We're just going to slide these in all the way to the bottom and all the way to the edge here. And you'll want to just stick it down. Just like that. And then the second one is going to go on the other long side. And this will also help kind of stretch out the box a little bit to help fit the false bottom. And then you want to stick that one down. Just be careful of your handle. Don't want to squish it too much. Or, well, you don't want to squish it at all. Just if it gets a little squished, it should be okay. And now our two side pieces. And these should just slide right in between the two larger ones, just like so. You might have to kind of force it to the side, but once it's in there and it's not going to go anywhere. And the last piece. Once they're in, they should stay there really well. Then you should be able to carefully slide in your false bottom, maybe. This is like a really snug fit. Like I said, you can trim off a little bit if you want to. And there. It'll fit right on top, just like that. And then when you close it up, top will be snug as well. But, ooh, once you get it in like that, it'll close up tight, and everything will fit in like a jigsaw puzzle. And now we have one more piece that we need to add to the top. And that is our pocket. And we have a little a little like closure hinge thing that goes over it. So I'm going to put this off to the side really quick, and we can work on this last piece and then it'll be done. So you need one piece that is 5.5 by 11 and one piece that is 1/2 by 4 3/4. Grab out your scoreboard, and starting at the 11-inch side, we are going to score at 1/2 inch, turn, score at 1/2 inch, turn, and score at 1/2 inch. And then on our 1/2 by 4 3/4 inch piece, we want the 4 3/4 at the top, and we are going to score at 1/2 inch. Going to fold and burnish on all of our sides, or score marks again, and then we are just going to miter our corners. Okay. And with our pocket, you want to fold on your score marks, fold and burnish. And then we're going to miter the top 2 corners like normal, just like so. Okay, and then on our bottom 2 corners, you want to do a slight angle to cut out the side corner, or the square, just like that. Okay. And then again, going to really quick adding score tape to all of my 1/2 inch tabs. Now we can grab our box out one more time, and we are working on the top. I'm going to put this in, and we're going to line it up with the edges of the box top. Okay, so turn this around carefully, and I have glue on the bottom, and I'm going to carefully, as best I can, scooch this all the way to the bottom of the box top. And you might have to kind of finagle things a little bit to get it to where you want it to go. But once it's there, you can stick it down like so. And then we can add we can glue the sides down. And if you don't get it all glued down, it's okay. You can add pattern paper all the way down to help the pocket to stay adhered to the lid if you want. There's our pocket. And then we have this little piece, and that's gonna just go right on this edge. Going to center it as best as we can. This is a 10-inch piece, so 5 center, 1.5, so 3/4. Center as best as you can. Stick it down, and then we can add a magnet to keep it closed. Got magnets here. And I found the best way to do this is to add one magnet to the top of the tab, just like this. I like using score tape to hold my magnets down too. And then I'm going to flip it to the other side of my tab here. You can see. Let me turn this around like this. I have my magnet magnetized to my first magnet on the other side of my tab here, just so that I can get a good idea of where it is and the right side of my magnet. I have another piece of score tape. I'm just going to attach my second magnet to the sticky side of my score tape here, reattach my magnet to the first one, and then I can stick it down to my pocket, just like that. And that is how to make a suitcase. And like I said, it is snug. You can adjust if need be, but if you use it enough times, it should get to a place where you can easily open and close it up. There you go. A fun little suitcase. I hope you enjoyed making this suitcase with me. If you did, hit the like button down below. And if you want to see more fun boxes and albums and other things that we do on this channel, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!